Thank you, Abby. My name is David Starbuck. I'm the resident director of Bromley Hall and Drew Hall, and I also work for the AJ Scholar Program. Tara and I came to Gordon 4 years ago when I began my degree at Gordon Conwell. Tara accepted her position at Bennett, and I took on a number of roles through the Levita program. Those of you who were freshmen in the first discovery class I ever taught and the first Levita trip I ever led are now seniors. So proud of you. During these years on the North Shore, Tara and I have been incredibly blessed to call this place our home and to find a place within the Gordon community. And on August 1st, our beautiful little girl, Anna Caitlin, was born. And she just turned 10 weeks old. I finished at Gordon Conwell last May and am currently pursuing a PhD in outdoor education at the University of New Hampshire. After high school, I attended another small Christian school similar to Gordon called Bryan College. And when I was in college, my friends and I had a lot of fun. Those of you who know me well have heard the stories of going rafting in raging floodwaters in a raft that had a hole in it that I patched with the gum I was chewing. Stories of deciding to go camping at 11:30 at night and successfully making it back to class by 8 o'clock the next morning. Stories of kidnapping freshmen in the Astro van, water balloon wars that became food fights, and going on road trips without knowing where we were going to stay or what we were going to do. My friends and I had fun, but was that the only reason that I hung out with those guys? Is having fun the point of friendships? What is the point of friendships? How do you choose your friends? Have you ever thought about the reasons why you hang out with the people you do? What is it that draws you to your closest friends? As believers, the community that we choose to surround ourselves with is incredibly important. The book of Proverbs has a lot to say about the friends we choose, so just listen as I read a few of these to you. These are taken from the NIV. Proverbs 12:26, a righteous man is cautious in friendship, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. Proverbs 13:20, he who walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools suffers harm. And Proverbs 14:7, stay away from a foolish man, for you will not find knowledge on his lips. This is biblical wisdom. The friends we choose will affect the men and women we become. This decision matters. During my 4 years at Bryan College, I was impacted by classes, professors, mentors, ministry opportunities, and mission trips. While all those people and experiences changed me greatly, they were no match for the powerful influence of my friends. That's what I want to talk about this morning. So here's my story. I want you to imagine freshman David showing up to campus excited, nervous, and maybe a little scared, even though I would never let that show. College, in my mind, had so much to live up to. I had so many expectations of what it was going to be like. I'd heard so many people say it was the best 4 years of their life, and I couldn't wait to jump in. Things began well. I found myself instantly accepted within a group of guys that I definitely wanted to be associated with. They were fun, they were cool, they were popular. This was great. But it became clear to me pretty quickly that they were not pushing me towards light. The pressure to compromise what I knew was true to fit in with my friends was overwhelming. Have you ever felt that? It was so much easier to just bite my tongue when my friends began to make sinful choices. It was so much easier to just go with the flow than it was to take a stand for what I knew was right. I found myself faced with a very difficult question. Now that I know that my friends are pushing me in the wrong direction, what do I do about that? I'd love to say that I stood for truth immediately, that I confronted them and refused to be involved with anything that didn't glorify God, but I didn't. Instead, I tried to ignore my conscience, tried just to have fun without thinking too deeply about it. But it quickly became evident to me that ignoring the issue was not good enough. I tried talking to the guys, but they weren't really interested in hearing what I had to say. I recognized that I was being shaped by their standards, not the other way around. I knew what I needed to do. But how could I? How could I walk away from this group of guys who would let me in? Who would I hang out with then? What would everyone think of me? Even though being part of that group of guys at that point in time was everything to me, I was not willing to let my friends come between me and my relationship with God. Breaking away from that group was incredibly tough. I had already begun to establish a reputation for myself, and it was difficult to change direction midstream. I found myself feeling pretty lonely and discouraged through the second half of my freshman semester. Leaving that group was really hard, but I knew that it was the right thing to do. I knew I needed friends who were going to push me toward light. And my story has a happy ending. From this experience, I learned that my closest friends needed to share my vision for life as a Christian. I desperately needed a group of men who cared about living for eternity, not just the present. Trusting God to provide that wasn't easy, but He was faithful, and He provided a group of guys who I'm still friends with today. It's impossible to really describe the powerful way this community changed my life, but I'll try. We were like a team. We were just a bunch of ordinary guys, but we fought for the same goal: being men of righteousness, being men characterized by holiness. Those weren't just pious words for us. There were challenges worth fighting for. And so we fought together. When we recognized inconsistency in the way we lived, we did something about it. When one of us began to move toward an unhealthy relationship, we were willing to step up, talk to him, tell him why we were concerned, and challenge him to examine his motives. When we realized that all of us were struggling with this concept of purity and what that meant for us, we found a way to help each other keep our thoughts and actions focused on light and not darkness. We regularly talked about real issues of life that mattered. It was for me to be asked about my walk with God or my time in the Word. And we had fun. I personally had a lot more fun with the guys who were pushing me towards godliness than I ever did with a group that only cared about having fun. Ironic, isn't it? Throughout all our adventures, my friends pushed me to think about and live out my faith, and I pushed them to do the same. That's my story. So what does this have to do with you? Let's go back to those Proverbs one more time. A righteous man is cautious in friendship, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. He who walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools suffers harm. Stay away from a foolish man, for you will not find knowledge on his lips. As believers, both men and women, we must do what it takes to surround ourselves by light. This means thinking about why we choose the friends we have, and it means intentionally choosing friends who will push us towards light, not darkness. I'm not saying that we should avoid or look down on those who choose to live against God's word. No, we should love them, we should reach out to them, and we should point them toward light. But each of you should be seeking a community of your closest friends who are like-minded, having the same love, united with spirit and purpose. We must not choose our friends based on trivial, superficial standards. It's not good enough to pick our friends because they like the same TV shows, wear the same kinds of clothes, or play the same sport. It's not even good enough to choose friends based on how much fun we have with them. I want to leave you with 2 questions to consider this morning. What kind of influence are you having on your closest friends? What kind of influence are your closest friends having on you? I challenge you to be a friend who points your community to Christ and find others who can help you along the way.